everyone, and welcome back to another video here on Auto Wisdom. Today we are sitting behind the wheel of a 2015 Mark III generation Audi S3. And this is a very interesting car because I believe that it serves as an excellent entry-level compact sports sedan for anyone that's looking to get their feet wet in the German auto marketplace. And this particular S3 is finished in a beautiful shade of Audi's Sepang Blue, which is a very vibrant metallic color, along with a supple black leather interior. Now, with all that being said, let's not waste any more time and give her a quick pull, shall we? Oh yeah. As many of you probably already know, the Audi S3 shares its architecture with the Volkswagen modular MQB platform. So this is essentially the same chassis, powertrain, and drivetrain as a Volkswagen Golf R. And we have a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that's codenamed the EA888. And it outputs a healthy 292 horsepower and 282 pound-feet of torque. Now, I should also mention that this S3 in particular has had a few tasteful upgrades done to it in order to enhance the driving dynamics and overall power output of the car, which includes a JB4 piggyback tuner, which is on the map 1 setting. It, on paper, is supposed to add around 45 horsepower and around 40 pound-feet of torque. So in theory, this car should be outputting around 340 horsepower or so and around 330 pound-feet of torque. So very healthy performance figures. We also have an Injen Cold Air Intake, which is actually a proper intake system. As I was inspecting the engine bay of this car, it's closed off and there's no open exposed filter that's sucking in heat air. It has a proper snorkel to actually draw cold air from the outside of the car. And this engine is mated up with a supremely quick 6-speed dual clutch automatic that Audi refers to as S-tronic, and Volkswagen refers to it as DSG. Now, all that power is sent through Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system, which is Haldex styled, and essentially what that means is that this is a front-wheel drive biased vehicle, and as soon as the car detects slip from the rear wheels, it will go ahead and send extra power to the rear wheels to compensate for the lack of traction. And what this allows for is a car that has a lot of grip and also feels really comfortable to drive, especially on the limit. It's very easy to launch this thing. It doesn't want to slide out on you all that much, especially when the tires have some heat in them, and on a warm day like today, it's a little bit over 80 degrees. There really is no traction issues with this car. If you are pushing this thing to its absolute performance limits, you are most likely just going to end up running into understeer, which is typical of a front-wheel drive styled car. There's a little bit of traditional turbo lag out of the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. I kind of like it though. And it handles really, really well. We have a McPherson strut front end suspension with a 4-link in the rear. And this one has also been optioned out with the magnetically adjustable dampers. And the ride quality is very smooth, and the body roll, while there is a little bit that I can feel in this car, overall it compensates and adjusts to the bumps on the road surface very, very well. When I'm just putting around town in this car in a conservative manner, the car feels very, very comfortable and quiet to drive on. And then driving this car in a more performance-oriented manner, the suspension feels properly firm, which I really do enjoy. I actually have the traction control system fully disabled just because there's so much grip. And while there is a little bit of turbo lag, once it gets going, this engine, it doesn't really run out of steam until about triple-digit speeds, I would say. Nowadays, you have twin scroll turbos on just about everything, and all sorts of trick technology that engineers implement into their vehicles in order to reduce turbo lag whatsoever. But I actually kind of like the turbo lag. It gives the car a little bit of an old school feeling, and it also doesn't really want to upset the car's chassis or the tires in any way. Not like this car really has a ton of power to do that, but it encourages you to rev the car out and really explore the entirety of the power band. Now, peak power comes on at around 6,200 RPM, but this thing will rev out to roughly 6,800 RPM or so. Not the highest revving of engines, and truthfully, it doesn't sound all that charismatic. It has a pretty standard turbo 4-cylinder induction and exhaust note to it. But it makes up for that lack of sound with a lot of low-end torque and a lot of confidence with the driving experience. The all-wheel drive system, as I touched on previously, really just sort of optimizes the powertrain of this car. And this S-tronic 6-speed shifts really, really fast. Really good response out of the paddle shifters. And in addition to that, the gear changes are quite seamless. The only thing I will say is there's not a ton of feel through each gear change, so you're not really experiencing all that much. And I mean, it can be a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it. But nonetheless, this is a great transmission and it's very quick. Getting it off the line in first gear, it pulls hard, especially with this JB4 tune. You can feel that this thing has quite a bit of power, and pushing it hard through some of these corners. There's a tad bit of understeer, but overall you have so much confidence. I mean, you feel like you can just take a lot of corners and wide sweepers flat out without needing to lay off the throttle on this car. Brakes, on the other hand, feel good. This car has a 3,400 pound curb weight, and you don't really have like a factory big brake kit with this car. You have floating styled brake calipers in both the front and rear with some fairly sizable ventilated rotors. And the brake pedal feel is very progressive. You can modulate the brakes quite nicely, and I don't feel a ton of brake fade as well. But what I really like is just how confidence inspiring this car is to drive. It's not scary at all. You never feel like the car is going to step out on you. The car soaks up bumps very well. It handles nicely, and it has just the right amount of body roll to soak up bumps on the road and the various undulations in the road surface. Now, in terms of gripes with this car, I think my biggest complaint about it is that the feeling overall is just a tad bit sterile. This is a German vehicle, obviously, and it's first and foremost designed to be a luxury cruiser that can seat four comfortably, be very daily driver friendly. And with that being said, I feel like there is somewhat of a trade-off between sports car experience and overall functionality and ergonomics, practicality, those sorts of things. There is just a lack of sound that is coming through this cabin, and even then the sound is piped in through an intake track. And with the all-wheel drive system as well, this car is so comfortable to drive. It's so easy to push hard. I don't want to say it's boring, because it still offers a great deal of excitement and the car has good acceleration and performance characteristics. But I feel like if I was to own this car personally, maybe after around 6 months or so, if I wasn't modding it continuously, I feel like I would probably get a little bit bored with this thing. But in terms of a high-quality, performance-oriented compact sports sedan, the Audi S3 really hits the nail on the head, and it really just kind of does everything well. This sort of is the benchmark in this segment, and I really can appreciate what Audi has done with this car. And now this one is a 2015. It's fairly old. You can pick these things up, a pretty clean one, for around $25,000 in the used market, and that offers quite a bit of value, especially if you do a couple of basic modifications to upgrade the power on this thing, like this owner has with the JB4 and the upgraded intake. You can squeeze a little bit of extra power without really sacrificing reliability, daily drivability, and you can still enjoy a very fast and performance-oriented sedan. You can even take this thing to the track, and I'm pretty sure you can lay down some pretty decently quick lap times in it, especially with a good set of upgraded tires. The driving position in this car is very comfortable as well. Great visibility outward, not a ton of blind spots in my rear view. I do like this leather wrapped flat bottom steering wheel. The seating position and these sporty seats do bolster me a good bit. And what I do like is how Audi really can nail a minimalistic yet classy and high quality interior. While there is a bit of soft touch faux plastic on the dashboard and the door cards, the gauge cluster, the HVAC controls, and all your necessary inputs and physical controls are here and laid out in a very ergonomic and clean, subtle manner. There's no gimmicks with this car. The interior isn't trying to boast a ton of ambient lighting and just an overly fancy interior that's littered with touchscreens and electronics. It's just a high quality German car interior, and everything has a really nice fit and finish to it. Unlike the Mercedes-Benz that I drove, when you actually push on these buttons, there isn't creaks and rattles. And you know, Audi really excels in this department. I also do like the gauge cluster. I love how it's analog. It's really refreshing. Over nowadays, everything kind of has that digital virtual cockpit, and you do get this cool trick like 80s style semi-digital boost gauge in the interior as well that I really do like. So overall, guys, I like the S3 quite a bit. This car is fun to drive, and while it's not the most exciting thing on the road, it really is the perfect blend of a comfortable and practical daily driver that offers some great sports car dynamics and characteristics to it. And I can't fault it. I like the design of this car. It's clean, it has a classy interior, a great audio system, and overall, it's going to serve you well. I think these cars are fairly durable with their 2-liter turbocharged engines. And just going back to my thesis with this video, this S3 serves as a great introductory car to the world of German high-performance vehicles. So with all that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. Please go ahead and support the channel by leaving a like as well as subscribing down below if you have not done so already. And with all that being said, I will catch you all in the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.